Welcome to PODZILLA, a digital discourse in pop culture. Please enjoy the show.
Welcome to PODZILLA. It's a digital discourse in pop culture. You have to do the finger guns. That's what Braden does when I say that. Okay?
Okay.
Hello and welcome to PODZILLA. It's a digital... No, don't make the noise. Just do the finger guns. You don't have to make the
Let's just have it.
noise.
You do. I do that naturally.
Okay.
Take three.
Ready? Hello and welcome to PODZILLA. It's a digital... No, wait, until... Okay, here we go. Hello and welcome to PODZILLA. It's a digital discourse in pop culture. I'm your host on this journey through lights and magic, and my name is David. And it's 2021, so Braden's been recast with a female because we're being progressive. No, he has not. Braden has not been recast, but he is unavailable today for recording. And instead of not doing an episode this week, I decided that we were still going to have an episode this week, although shorter than a normal episode, and that I wanted the person that I share this episode with in the new set for the first time, the first episode ever without Braden in it, which is kind of...
That's true.
Kind of crazy. This is like a mini episode, so maybe it's not like a full PODZILLA episode. Maybe it's like a Babyzilla episode. Oh, Babyzilla?
That's cute.
Maybe it's a Babyzilla episode, but do you want to introduce yourself or do you want me to introduce you?
You go for it. I want to know what you're going to say.
So I asked my lovely, beautiful wife, Heather, to be my co-host today. And as of how much time have you had to prepare for this episode?
In what capacity? That it might actually happen? I've had officially a few hours.
She's had a few hours. I texted you while you were at work and said that you were doing it. And she said, what did you say when I said, do you want to do the podcast with me?
I said, I'm honored.
She's... I felt that. So we're going to talk about Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, because do you think that I made you watch it or did you already want to watch it? Because you really didn't know anything about it.
I would have wanted to watch it, but like you said, I didn't know about it. I didn't know that it was a thing, but I love DC, so I would have loved to have watched it if I had known about it. I'm just a bad fan.
You're just a bad fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I learned pretty quickly when we started watching the Snyder cut of Justice League that you didn't even know what was going... it took like 10 minutes. Well, you didn't know that it was the same movie.
Mm-mm.
You thought it was like a sequel to Justice League?
Yeah, which is why I was really confused because I was shocked that I hadn't heard that there was a sequel. But I was like, Corona, I guess, I don't know. They just don't advertise anymore to save on budget.
That's really what you thought?
I don't know, but I thought it was weird. But I thought there must be a reason. Yeah, I thought it was a sequel. That's why going into it, I was asking you where we left off and asking you a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. But then also that a lot of it was familiar. Mm-hmm. And then you paused it and explained it all to me. And then I was good. And then I stopped talking.
That's right.
I was talking a lot.
You were talking a lot at the beginning and asking a lot of questions. But then once you had some clarity on what we were actually watching,
it made sense. And that was good.
Do we need to explain to everybody listening and watching what this Snyder Cut is, or do you think they already know? How about you explain to them what the Snyder Cut is? Now that I've explained it to you, by proxy, you explain to the people in your own words after me having taught you what this was.
Okay.
You don't have to go long with it, but just give like a brief elevator pitch of what the Snyder Cut is.
Okay. In short, Zack Snyder was the original director of the Justice League movie that came out in 2017. And at some point, for various reasons, when he had majority of the film completed, was it Warner Brothers? The studio was Warner Brothers. Basically fired him and told him he's not doing it anymore. And they hired Hans Zimmer.
No.
Hans Zimmer is a composer. Who did they hire? Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon.
Yeah, he's a Firefly guy. I knew who it was.
You got it.
Anyways, I hired him, I think, to put a Marvel twist on it because they
Yeah.
wanted to get more of a fan base as large as Marvel.
A family thing.
Yeah, which isn't DC, which is why I like DC. It's gritty and it's dark and it's awesome. So he did his own thing, only using 10% of Zack Snyder's film, and then the rest of it he reshot, which is why Superman has a really weird lip. But then
Because Henry Cavill was filming Mission Impossible, and part of his contract was he couldn't shave his mustache off, so they had to just use visual
awful.
effects to take it off.
It was weird. It was just like it was quivering the whole time. But then the guy who plays, I don't know his name, the half robot guy.
Cyborg?
Yeah, he plays Cyborg.
Yeah, so then a bunch of stuff came out about him not getting along with Joss Whedon and supporting Zack Snyder's vision.
Hans Zimmer.
I mean, he's a great composer.
He is. Not part of this conversation.
No.
Continue.
No, but then a bunch of stuff came out about nobody liked Joss Whedon's work.
And then a petition of some sort came out where they wanted...
A hashtag.
Yeah.
It started as a hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag. They wanted Hans Zimmer's...
Hans Zimmer.
Gosh, what is wrong with me? They wanted Zack Snyder's.
You really are loving some Hans Zimmer
Apparently,
today.
I need to go listen to his music. They wanted Zack Snyder's footage to be released so that he could...
Zack Snyder's movie to be released.
Yeah, but what he had filmed, and he could put it all together and then release it as a whole as to what his vision of the DC Justice League should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in short, that's what happened. That's what this is.
You're beautiful and I love you, and you just did a great job.
Thanks.
Good job.
Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, it would be very proud. Yeah, that was a good little description. You did a good job. So with that being said, we should probably give an official spoiler warning. So I'm going to turn the siren on, and then you have to do the spoiler warning because you know how we do that, right?
Can
Ready?
I do my own? I'm going to do my own.
Yeah, but the sirens are going to be going off.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? Go. Tell them.
Spoiler warning!
Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll turn them off now. All right. That was the fastest spoiler warning ever. Because normally we say, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen this movie, stop watching the podcast and go watch the movie and then come back.
Everyone knows what a spoiler warning is, though.
Okay. So we sat down and we watched the Snyder Cut, and
From start to finish.
in one night.
Yes.
How much? Okay, let's just put this out there first. How much of the movie did you sleep through?
Not much. I'd say a few minutes, maybe. I cannot stay awake well, Pat. When it gets to double digits, I'm really struggling. And we stayed up pretty late watching and finishing this movie, and I wanted to finish it. So I was walking around the room,
Yep.
eating sour things to try to stay awake.
Yeah. You did a good job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Your commitment was admirable.
I wanted to finish it. It was great. I was enjoying it.
But you were also falling asleep.
Yes.
But not because it was boring,
no.
but because you have,
narcolepsy.
a weird after 10
Yeah.
p.m. narcolepsy.
Yep.
Fair enough. So we sat down and we watched it. What were some of your first impressions watching the movie?
I liked that it was a lot more gory than
Yeah,
the original
it was
Justice
it had a lot
League.
of very bloody,
Wonder Woman threw someone into a wall at one point and they basically exploded and there was blood and guts everywhere. And then in some of the fight scenes, some of the guts got on the camera, on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I just like that touch.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I like that too. What else did you like? Were you a fan of Wonder Woman's theme song throughout, that every time it showed a shot of Wonder Woman, it went, oh, oh. It had that Wonder Woman music?
That was a bell curve for me because I was okay, whatever, that's fine. But then it kept going and I was oh my gosh, this is a bit much. But then towards
every time it showed
every time. But then at the end of it, I expected it and I enjoyed it for all the wrong reasons. It was
you thought it was funny?
I thought it was funny at the end.
So it wasn't satisfying.
It was comical, yeah. Especially there's one scene where she's got her mouth open when the woman starts to sing.
Yeah,
and I was how did you not
singing.
catch that?
It looks like she's singing her own theme song. Oh man. So I'm sure that a lot of you have already seen the Justice League, the 2017 Joss Whedon Justice League. And
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
The
Yep,
Hans Zimmer one.
And I'm sure that most of it, like a lot of it is familiar, right? Like the general kind of Steppenwolf storyline with the three mother, mother cubes or, whatever they're called. I forgot. But that's it. It's the same storyline for both, but somehow Zack Snyder made it work and Joss Whedon didn't. Why do you think that is? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I also vaguely remember that being part of the storyline in the 2017 movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you hadn't told me that it was, I wouldn't have remembered that it was. Because I feel like watching the Zack Snyder version, that was the first time I'd really seen the three sisters.
Yeah, like the backstory that Diana tells and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't really have associated them with the storyline at all.
Right. But so all in all, it's pretty much the same. Like the same story, kind of. It's like when they have the two pictures next to each other and it's like spot the differences. That's kind of what the movies feel like. But one picture's a really good piece of artwork and the other one's not.
It's fine.
It's kind of weird that the balance is like it's the same storyline, but somehow Zack Snyder just the way that he developed the characters and the storyline. It just didn't feel. Maybe it's just because it's meant to be a 4-hour movie, like maybe it's just supposed to be the 6-part 4-hour long movie because there's more time to really dive into like characters and story. Like I definitely feel like Ben Affleck was given more of an opportunity to like show his character development as Bruce Wayne and as Batman because in the 2017 version just felt rushed because they were trying to get everybody's stories in, but there's not really much to spoil like in this new version. Like
it's just more backstory, really. Yeah. That's the only difference.
But it's so much better.
It is so much better. Like Cyborg, for example, I mean, there's not a whole lot about him in the original one, but in this one, like you get his whole backstory and you really empathize with him towards the end of it.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't have that emotional connection with him during.
Yeah, and I know that Zack Snyder's intention, and he even went on record, him or maybe his wife, who was a producer on the movie. I believe Deborah Snyder said in an interview that the intention for Cyborg the whole time in Justice League was for Cyborg to be the heart of the movie, and that definitely showed a lot more in the Snyder Cut versus the original. Who was your favorite superhero in the new Justice League? You know
who it is. Mm-hmm. It's Superman.
Why?
Because I love Superman.
Why? Let's get into we don't even have to talk about Justice League anymore.
No,
let's
get into why on topic. That's what the people want. Start to finish.
Why
finish
do you
your
love
train
Superman
of thought.
So much?
Because
a lot of people think that there's definitely a demographic that thinks that Superman's the best, but there are also a lot of people, somewhat myself included, that think he's a Mary Sue.
I get it.
So what are his qualities that make him your favorite superhero?
Well, you either say no, he's got too many powers, it's not fair, he's too cool, or you just lean into it and be like, heck yeah, he's cool, no one's better than Superman, and that's where I am. And you're on the other side of that line. I
mean, he has awesome moments, and he's the strongest and the coolest. And
especially in this one, like he has some really hardcore moments.
Yeah, and he has a super sexy hairy chest. Would you agree?
You said it first.
But yeah, I don't know. Why do you love Superman? Let's get deeper here just for a second. I want you to explain to me why, like what made you fall in love with Superman?
I think it's because the character of Superman came into my life at a very just influential age, and I just fell in love with it. Mm-hmm. That's it.
How old were you? What was the movie? What was the show?
This is what you're getting at. You're trying to make
just
fun of me.
Just tell the truth. Just tell the people the truth.
Okay, so you had a Guilty Pleasures episode a while back with Braden about all the movies, and that you asked me earlier, like watching PODZILLA, what is one thing that I have noticed in one of your episodes that I'm like, oh, I would talk about this. Because I actually have something that I'm passionate about in that category, and my Guilty Pleasure movie is Superman Returns, and I think it's phenomenal.
Even though it's a big fat stinker.
I know that it's not a good movie. I really do, but I love it. It's got such a tender spot in my heart.
Because of the age you were when it came out?
I think so. Like, there were a lot of things going on in my life at the time. Changes. I had just gotten my new room, and it was haunted. That's a whole different story. I've told you about that room. It was crazy. So I couldn't sleep without noise or something on. And I had a DVD VHS player that I had gotten for Christmas. And so that's just a movie that I constantly had playing at night. And so it brought me comfort in knowing that, you know, there was sound going on because I couldn't sleep in silence. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's why. It was the first like true love story that like touched my heart because I was not like a girly girl growing up. I was very tomboy into sports and like didn't talk about my feelings at all. But then Clark Kent and Lois Lane, it just got me. It changed me. That's that.
You're beautiful and I love you. So
that's an insult. It feels
no, it's not.
It feels a little bit. You're like, oh, how
cute.
sweet.
No,
Aw,
it's not an insult at all. No, it's not an insult at all. So do you think that Brandon Routh's Superman is the best depiction of Superman, live action Superman?
No.
Whose do you think is the best? Christopher Reeve, Brandon Routh,
I actually
Tom
haven't
Welling,
watched all the old ones.
Henry Cavill.
Well, I think Henry Cavill's is the coolest. Like, if I had to just pick one to do the rest of the movies, I'd pick Henry Cavill. I think he's just got a cool take on it.
Let's talk about Amy Adams as Lois Lane.
I didn't like her.
I love Amy Adams.
I just see Giselle.
And you do too.
I do, yeah. I do. I just don't think she's a good Lois
Giselle?
Lane.
Is that her name?
Yeah, and Enchanted.
I love Amy Adams, but I don't love her as Lois Lane. I don't buy her as Lois Lane.
It's not believable for some reason.
Yeah. I think Erica Durance from Smallville has been one of my favorite Lois Lanes. And I think Tom Welling from Smallville is one of my favorite Supermans.
Yeah, that's good.
But I think Christopher Reeve, the original Superman, like from the 70s, is the best Superman. And then I'd say Henry Cavill.
Because there's like a Superman curse, right? Isn't there like a
What do you mean?
Superman? Anybody, and I could be wrong about this, you can fact check me, but I read or heard one day in somebody's interview, who's the guy who played Superman in Superman Returns? You just said his
Brandon
name.
Routh.
Brandon Routh was asked in an interview after he accepted the role if he was afraid of the Superman curse. And so then I looked into it. And
Like you can't be cast as anything else once you've been Superman or something?
yeah, something like that. And then like something would happen on set that could potentially harm them or that had harmed Christopher Reeves. Not obvious. Anyways. But I don't know if anything like that has ever like actually ended up happening.
Well, didn't he? I think he was in like a horse accident or something, and that's how he ended up, you know.
Because I also remember it being asked to Henry Cavill.
I don't know about the Superman curse. That's interesting.
Fact check me.
What did you think of Batfleck? Ben Affleck as Batman.
I liked him more in this than I did.
I liked him
in
the most in this than I have in anything else.
Absolutely. He's not my favorite Batman at all, but I think that this gave the audience more reasons to like him as a character.
Who's your favorite Batman?
Christian Bale.
He's a good Batman.
I just like
Not
him.
George Clooney?
Gosh.
Val Kilmer?
No.
Not Adam West?
No. The Christian Bale Batman series and all of that's my favorite DC thing.
That trilogy?
Yeah. It's awesome.
Do you think that he would ever come back and be Batman again?
I don't think he could.
I don't think he would. I liked Batfleck.
Yeah.
I think the Robert Pattinson's going to be my new fave, though.
Maybe. You just love Robert Pattinson, though.
Yep, that's true. That is true. So the story is very similar, with the exception of some new effects, some new fight scenes. I loved Aquaman. I like Jason Momoa a lot. I love all of the actors. Really got to shine in their own moments, you know, like Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller. Everyone got like their time, and it didn't feel rushed at all. It was really.
It definitely wasn't rushed. That's for sure.
Yeah, it and maybe that was just the failure of the first one more than anything else, was that it was just rushed.
But there are a lot of things to get in the regular 2.5 hour time slot with how many characters are in it. Like you can't have full character development with the whole cast. You have to sacrifice something.
Yeah. Did watching the Snyder? Oh, here's another question before I get to that. What did you think of the aspect ratio? The 4:3 aspect ratio. Do you even remember that at all, really?
Yeah, it was smaller.
Yeah, but did you notice it throughout, or did you forget about it after a while?
No, I knew it was there the whole time.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't forget about it.
Did you like it? Did you think it was cool, or would you prefer normal widescreen
I would
format?
just prefer it to be normal. I felt like I understand it's like an artistic stance and an artistic choice, but it felt that felt forced to me.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
sure.
Like I'm gonna choose to do this because I'm cool, because I'm different, not because it benefits the movie in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it benefited the movie?
I don't know. I didn't dislike it, but I did find it very distracting because you have to know as a director specifically that when you're making a film in 2017 even, that everyone who has a TV in their home, the aspect ratio of their TV is widescreen format. So to intentionally make a movie that's, a different aspect ratio means that they're not going to get a full immersive experience because they're going to have these huge black bars on the screen the whole time.
Doesn't it cut off some of what he filmed too? Because don't you have to film it with that in mind?
I think he shot it in that aspect ratio.
Really? So was his original film going to be
I
like
believe
that?
so.
Oh,
I think so.
Okay.
I think that was the intention from the get-go. And then I think maybe Joss Whedon took his footage and they just literally put bars on it and widened his stuff out. Because I believe the aspect ratio that the Snyder Cut is in, it's intentionally made for like an IMAX projector screen. Like it would feel like a whole IMAX wall. And that would feel super immersive. But people who are watching it, especially when you're releasing it on HBO, aren't watching it in an IMAX theater. So
I think he should have changed it.
I mean, I don't think he should have after the fact, because it was like that was part of his original vision, and the whole point of releasing the Snyder Cut was to release his original vision. So I thought 4:3 was just, I thought it distracted me the whole time.
I didn't
personally
think it was necessary.
Do you think that the Justice League, this movie, do you think that Warner Brothers would be interested in like furthering the Zack Snyder movies again?
They'd have to be crazy not to, because I feel like, and I actually haven't looked at like people's reviews or anything like that, but I feel like this is going to have a lot more people behind it than the original one. Like no one asked for a second one from the 2017 version, but I feel like after this, especially with all like the end credit scenes and all the extra superheroes that were in it that weren't in the 2017 one, which is crazy because he filmed them and he just took them out. People are going to want more. They're going to want to know like where he was going with this.
Yeah, and that's why that last scene of Bruce's dream, where he is with Joker and Deathstroke and the Flash and I forget, Mara, I think. That whole scene is like apparently what Zack Snyder envisioned for a Justice League trilogy to end up like, where Lois is killed somehow and it's Batman's fault, and that makes Superman go crazy, and then Superman ends up being the villain. I don't know. And there's this whole apocalypse that happened because of them, bringing Clark back to life in the first place. I don't know. Zack Snyder also said that in his original trilogy, he wanted the Kents, Clark and Lois, to have a child named Bruce Kent who would end up being Batman. That seems a little forced to me.
I mean, it's enough that their moms are both named Martha.
But that was like where he was leading with the trilogy, and that kind of bummed me out a little bit, because I was like, come on, Zach, like, cool your jets
campy.
A little bit. That's a little much. Like, he was kind of riding the wave of, everybody loves the Snyder Cut, this is such a huge success. And also, they were going to have a son named Bruce Kent, and it was going to be Superman's son, but he doesn't have any powers. But then he takes on the mantle of Batman and becomes the new Batman, but he's Clark Kent and
So he
Lois
said
Lane's
that
son.
after he released his cut.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like J.K. Rowling stuff there, just trying to like change the story after it's already finished. You just can't do it.
But that's just unnecessary, because that even veers even further away from any sort of canonical comic book storyline.
No, he's just
I think.
creating his own universe at that point.
The Snyderverse. I mean, he already has, I guess. That's the whole point. It's the DCCU? DCCU?
Did they change the way that the villain looked in this one?
Yes.
I thought so.
They made him look more alien, and like they gave him that cool armor.
Yeah. What did he look like before?
Generic.
Did he have that same like shape, or is it completely
He had a
different?
similar. I mean, if you saw like the silhouette, it might be pretty similar, but not completely. He definitely looked better in this one. He looked more like a menacing alien.
Cool. It looks cool.
What else? Do you have any other thoughts?
Just that the storyline with Wonder Woman on her own and then Aquaman on his own were both individually better than their movies.
That's a good point. Both Wonder Women?
Definitely the second one.
Yeah, the
I
second
think
one.
it was even better than the first one. Honestly, the first one's okay. I don't love it.
There's definitely, I think there's a lot of people that want to see more of the Justice League, but now I feel like this is going to revitalize a whole new movie culture that's going to be asking for director's cuts of movies that have already been released. Like, the Russo brothers came out and said that they would be willing to release a 6-hour director's cut of Endgame.
Dang.
Because
How
they
long
have
is it
6
already?
hours worth
It's
of
longer than
footage.
a regular
It's like 3
movie.
hours, I think.
Jeez. Do most movies have that much extra footage, or is that just
I feel like they kind of
I'd
got to do
watch
whatever
it.
they wanted for the most part.
at that point? Yeah.
I mean, we would absolutely watch it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
I would.
just the fact of that's kind of wild. But I do
Wow.
feel like this, like with the success of the release of the Snyder Cut on HBO, that now there's going to be this surge of hashtag release this movie, release the original intended version of this movie or whatever, you know?
I don't think it would be for everything. I think it would only be for things like in this category.
So
you know?
what do you think, if you could release a longer version of a movie, what movie would you release a
I don't
longer
like
version
being
of?
put on the spot.
Superman Returns?
No, I like it just the way it is. Thank you very much.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. Practically perfect.
I'd like to see a 6-hour long Endgame. I'd watch that.
Yeah, I'd totally watch that. Where would you rank the new Justice League compared to Marvel movies? Or this
I
version?
genuinely think that, and I told Johnny, my brother, whom I love more than anything except for you.
Saved it.
I would rank it on an even playing ground with the first Avengers. Like, if you didn't see any other Avengers movie in the MCU and you only watched Avengers, like the first one, and then you didn't see any other DC movie in the DC cinematic universe, and you only saw Zack Snyder's Justice League, they're just as good as each other.
I'd agree with that.
That's what I'd say about. So if that sways anyone who's decided they're not going to watch the Snyder Cut because they're like, I've already seen it.
It's different.
It's different and
worth
it's
it.
way better.
It's way better. Way better. The first, yeah, I don't see myself ever wanting to watch the Hans Zimmer version ever again.
The Joss Whedon version.
Yeah. But even before this one was released,
Yeah, the Joss Whedon version will never be watched again, I bet.
I would have
really.
never watched that again ever. I mean,
There is someone somewhere who that's their favorite movie.
yeah, well, I get
Probably
that
Joss
because I have one of those as well. Like, it shouldn't be anybody's favorite movie, but it is.
Yeah.
But this new one, we probably wouldn't watch it in one setting again. But
we'd definitely
yeah,
watch
we
it
would
again.
watch it in increments again for sure because it's just good.
For sure. What would you rank this movie?
I'm a lot more. I'm not as harsh as you are on ranking. What's a 1 to you and what's a 10 to you? Name 1 10. Do you have a 10?
I don't have a 10.
Then what are you comparing it to? Like,
I don't think a 10 exists. I don't know.
What is a 10 to you?
A perfect 10? I
Yeah,
don't know. I've never
like-
seen a perfect 10 movie.
Huh. So how do you? I don't know. Okay, if you have no
I have a
standard
lot
to
of
compare
nines.
it to,
I have a lot of 9s.
how do you know those 9s aren't 10s?
I don't know. I don't know. A 10 just seems like an unachievable movie goal to me, personally.
Fair enough. I would rank it out of 10 an 8 or a 9.
I'd rank it an 8, 100%. Absolutely.
Is that good?
Which is a proper segue into I have to make a public apology on the podcast to Noah and Clayton because I gave WandaVision a 7 out of 10. And in retrospect, I should have given it an 8 out of 10.
Yes, I thought that was ridiculous that you said that.
I'm giving you a public apology too, but specifically to Noah and Clayton, I'm sorry. In the moment, and let me explain. Let me just kind of explain where my head was at in the moment while we were talking about it. WandaVision was absolutely an 8 out of 10, easy.
Yeah.
The reason I gave it a 7 out of 10 in that moment is because the whole. I was so frustrated about all the Quicksilver stuff that they just made into a wiener joke at the end of the series. I was so upset about that it knocked it down a whole rank for a moment, for a small moment of being emotionally vulnerable. I was wrong. I gave a movie an improper score because I was offended by a wiener joke.
You let your emotions get the better of you and affect your judgment.
Yes, in that moment.
We've all been there. I'll forgive
but that
you,
was the reason I gave it. That was the reason I gave it a 7 in the moment. But all in all, in retrospect, WandaVision's an 8 out of 10.
It's excellent
for sure. Even with the throwaway boner joke, WandaVision's 8 boners out of 10. And right,
yeah,
and Justice League's 8 boners out of 10.
I would say episodes are 9. Some of them are.
Some of the episodes are definitely 9s.
Yeah, but as a whole, I'd say 8's fair.
Yeah, I think 8 is accurate. But I gave it a 7, and I'm sorry to everyone who was upset that I gave it a 7. I was
rightfully
wrong.
Upset.
Rightly so. I mean, I think we've said our bit about Justice League, the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that needs to be said? I thought the music was rocking. I thought that the movie, 10% of the movie was in slow motion. Did you know that? 10% of the movie was in slow motion.
I noticed that a lot of it was, but I didn't know the exact
But it was cool.
number.
Like the whole flash sequence when he ran through the window and pulled. That was cool.
I did also appreciate that they didn't use any of Hans Zimmer's cuts. So, but they
say Joss Whedon because people are going to get confused.
I'm making fun of myself though. Like the race at the end of the original one between the Flash and Superman. Mm-hmm. I appreciated it in the moment because it fit with the whole vibe of the movie. But throughout this Zack Snyder cut, I was like, oh, surely they're not going to add that. Surely that wasn't him. He wouldn't have done that.
No,
and
yeah, absolutely.
It's campy.
Super cheesy.
It's Marvel-y. That's a Marvel move.
But it's not.
It is.
But it is, but it isn't.
It totally fits their vibe.
It is, but it's also not. Like ending on a freeze frame. Remember they ended with Superman and Flash like they ended on a freeze frame, literally in Justice League. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of PODZILLA, and thank you to my beautiful, attractive, lovely, bodacious. Why is bodacious a bad thing?
I don't know. It just sounds gross.
My awesome, super cool, super fun wife who watches everything with me, even when she doesn't want to. My binge watch partner, my partner in crime. You're not even my sidekick. You're just my partner. Right?
Right.
And my love of my life. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for going with the flow and being on the show.
I'm honored.
That was a good little rhyme. Please join our Discord server. It's the best way to get involved with us. It's called the PODZILLA Club, and scan this QR code Heather's going to hold. She's holding the QR code. Bring it a little lower in the middle of the... There you go. A little lower. There you go. Please scan this QR code, join our Discord server, and it's the best way to get involved and to just join the conversation about future episode ideas, about nerdy stuff. Ambi, Juan, Kenobi sent in a suggestion for an episode that we're going to talk about next week, which is fan casting.
It's getting heavy.
The new... Oh, throw it at him. Throw it right at him. There you go. In 3D. Good job.
Thanks.
Ambi, Juan Kenobi on Discord sent us a suggestion for an episode that we're actually going to talk about next week when Braden is back in the seat. And it is fan casting the upcoming Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's being rebooted for a third time because of course it is. And we're going to fan cast it, which I'm super stoked about.
That'd be fun.
So tune in next week to get into that. Join our Discord server. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and check the little bell so that you get a notification when we post a new episode.
Where's the little bell?
Huh?
Is there a little bell?
No. Oh boy, you're taking advantage of the whole editing situation.
Oh my
please.
gosh, there's bees in here.
No, there's not.
heck?
There's bees on your end. Swat them away. Swat them away.
Okay. Close to one. I'm allergic.
You're not allergic to bees.
Good thing.
We're about to have a Macaulay Culkin situation in here, a My Girl situation.
Oh, wow. I'm going to die.
You said you're allergic to bees.
Jeez.
So you're
dark.
distracting. You're distracting from ending the show.
I'm sorry.
You can also email us at thepodZillaShow@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at thepodZillaShow. And until next time, Heather.
Watch Superman Returns.
High five me.
Thank you for joining us on Podzilla. And always remember, be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
We done?
You gotta add the bees.
I'll add the bees.
How cute. He has his sister's book. That's adorable. He's a good brother.